We talk to the legends of the creative and entertainment industries. We talk to those on the rise. Steen Anthony Nielsen asks about the highs, the lows, and everything in between. This is Outcast Creative, and this is Industry Interviews.
Hello, welcome to the Outcast Creative channel on the unusual time of 9 o'clock Thursday, and we're also going up against a game of football in the World Cup, so there's a good chance you might be watching this on the replay for a change. Welcome to Industry Interview 167, so 33 to go until I hit 200. Now, my guest this evening, wow, what a CV. There's nothing that this woman hasn't done in the creative industry. She's been both an actress, a singer, and a dancer, and everything in between. She's worked with some of the biggest names in the music industry, including Pink Floyd. She started and formed her own band, Blue Pearl, that had two classic dance hits in the early 1990s. We're going to talk all about that in a minute. You might remember the controversial video from Dancing Naked in the Rain. I certainly do. So it's my absolute pleasure to welcome onto the channel none other than Durga McBroom. Welcome to the Outcast Creative.
Hi.
How are you this evening?
I can't hear you.
You can't hear me?
No audio.
Oh my God, but we just did that and you could hear me fine. Okay, wait. So you're going to need to log out and log in. Oh, I've had this happen before. Wait.
Okay.
Let me type that as a comment. Oh my God, how annoying. So log out and log back in. Normally fixes it. Okay, let's try that. So, right.
Okay, I'll log out and I'll come back in.
Okay, fantastic. All right. So I'm going to waffle in the meantime, and hopefully this will all be fine. This is why I do these things. I check these things first before I comment. I'm going to put Durga started out as an actress, and one of the films that you might have seen her in is Flashdance, and she was one of the dancers in that. Okay, she's coming back in now. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Oh, thank God. Okay. I thought I was going to have to talk about your time in Flashdance on my own for 2 hours. So, well, if you couldn't hear me earlier, I just gave you an amazing intro and just made you sound brilliant. And also just pointed out that we are going up against the World Cup today, which is a little bit annoying. Yeah. So normally I would have much higher people watching live. There's a good chance that people will watch this on the replay. And if you're coming in now on the replay, thank you very much for tuning in. So Durga, I always ask my guests on this channel the same first few questions. The first one is, which movie do you remember seeing on the big screen as a kid for the very first time? What was your first cinema experience?
Well, the one I think I remember, the first film I remember seeing in the theater was Chitty Chitty Bang Bang with Dick Van Dyke, of course.
Yeah.
And classic kids film. And to this day, I remember how terrified I was of the child catcher.
The child catcher, yeah.
That was one of the most traumatizing villains in cinematic history, I think. He screwed up.
There's that shot of him where he kind of comes in from the side and goes, lollipops, ice cream.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I remember that.
Horrifying.
Yeah. Great actor as well, the guy that played him.
Very much.
You're the fifth guest I've had that's given that answer.
Really?
Yeah. So you're not alone. And of course, Chitty Bang Bang was produced by the Broccoli family, who also did the James Bond. Yeah, the James Bond films.
Yes.
What was the last movie you saw on the big screen?
The last movie I saw on the big screen, I was really angry because I wanted to see The Mandalorian and Grogu, but unfortunately, because I was taking care of an errand for someone, I missed the beginning. And so I had already paid for my ticket, and I had to go and see The Devil Wears Prada 2.
Oh no.
which was
Yeah, I saw the first 20 minutes of that, and man, it was I just kind of it's one of them films I just kind of tuned out, and everybody was really phoning in, weren't they?
Yeah, pretty much.
It's just
It was kind of like
must be my paycheck. I'll read the lines
oh,
out.
exactly. I mean, I shot a film back right on my way moving to the UK. So I
Right.
left LA and I stopped in Burundi, Africa for 6 weeks to
Oh yeah.
shoot a horrible film called
Vendetta.
no, that's another horrible film.
Yeah, I just
No.
watched that this afternoon. We'll get into that. We're going to
No.
get into that. Trust me.
That
Thank you
movie's
for putting me through that experience.
out loud.
Doug.
Sorry. No, but this one was In the Eye of the Serpent, and it was with Malcolm McDowell and Lois Childs, who played Holly Goodhead in she was
in
the Bond girl.
Moonraker. What do you mean this
Moonraker.
film by any chance?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, known as the Eye of the Snake in some territories, Eye of the Serpent in other territories. 1991.
Yes.
Yeah.
Snake Eyes and others. It was a Swiss-French production. And I asked Malcolm, I was like, Malcolm, what are you doing in this film? And he said, well, my house in Tuscany needs a swimming pool, and this will just about cover it.
Yeah.
He was lovely.
Yeah, swimming pools and jacuzzis are often or various refurbishments to mansions are often the reasons that people will commit to certain film projects.
Yeah.
Was it that bad? I've not seen this one.
Oh, it's awful. But I actually had been cast. I was double cast at that time. I was cast in this as well as Predator 2. So
Predator 2.
Yeah, I would have worked opposite Danny Glover, but unfortunately there was a scheduling conflict, so I had to choose one.
Check this out. I can't believe you just said Predator 2. Look at this.
Oh, yeah.
That's the vinyl soundtrack to Predator 2. It's in
amazing.
In my cabinet right here.
Wow.
Literally. That's so weird. Sorry, carry on. So carry on telling the story.
It was basically shoot 3 days of playing the typical sassy black prostitute getting dragged into the station being booked.
So unlike you to be cast in such a role.
Well, I got typecast as a lot of that back in the 80s because dark-skinned black girls, that's what
you cornered that market in the 80s, according to IMDb. I can see that.
Yeah. But it was either 3 days of that or 6 weeks in Africa.
Right.
Being able to work with Malcolm McDowell. And so I was like, yes, please.
I mean, you're actually in this. There's this cast and crew group photograph, which for any movie on IMDb, you don't normally get a big group photo like this. And I think that's you in the yellow top on the left, sort of 2 rows down. 5 people in.
I can't see from here. Probably.
So you're around here. But you're definitely in the picture because you're.
Oh tagged. Yeah. I see where you're talking about. Yeah, I think that is me.
Yeah, you're tagged. You're tagged as being in the photo. I mean, we recently lost Malcolm McDowell.
What?
I think Malcolm McDowell. Not was it not, or was it Terence Stamp? Maybe it was Terence Stamp.
Terence Stamp.
Terence Stamp that we lost. I think Malcolm is still around. Sorry,
he's fine.
Thank you. I've never met him. What's he like?
He's fascinating, and he's a lovely person, and he actually saved my life.
Oh, do tell.
Well, when we were shooting this film, it was a film about a guy that worked with snakes. That's why In the Eye of the Snake. And we had a technical advisor that worked at Le Musée Vivant, the Living Museum, which was actually more like a zoo. So he would drive up into the mountains to get stock for Le Musée Vivant, and he would get a lot of snakes. And one day, instead of taking the normal route up into the mountain through the mountain villages, we had to take a secondary road because they were doing a road rally. So this secondary, well, they called it a secondary road, but it was more like a rutted goat track.
Yeah.
a dirt road. And it was a caravan, and I was in the truck in the front, out in the back of the truck, in the open air.
Yeah.
And we realized at one point that we were surrounded by bees. And at first I thought it was kind of funny because they were only going after the guys. It was me and a couple of guys in the back of the truck. And so we banged on the hood to stop, or on the cab to stop the truck. And apparently, from what they said behind us, as soon as we stopped, we must have hit the advance guard and then stopped over a deep rut in the road where the main hive was. Because the minute we stopped, the whole truck was enveloped by bees. And I jumped out, I'm still laughing, until I stopped moving. And then I realized all I could hear was this really deep, ominous buzzing. And I realized then I could feel this, and that was bees
And
trying to
you're
attack.
talking African bees as well, which are not the
Yeah.
same as the little tiny cute bees that we get
These
in
are
the
not
UK.
these are not the Africanized bees. These are real African killer bees. So I start running around trying to get away from them, and all these thoughts are going through my head. We passed like a water hole, like a quarter of a kilometer back, and I was like, should I sprint and try to jump in there? No, because there could be crocodiles in it or hippos. And then I slipped in the gravel, and they all thought I went down. And the car behind me, Malcolm was in it. There are certain voices that you recognize immediately. And I heard him shout, "Get in the car now!" And I had thought of that, but I didn't want to bring the bees with me. But at that point, I didn't have any choice. So I jumped in their car, and Malcolm and his wife started slapping my head, and I wound up with a lap full of dead bees. Fortunately, I'd only been stung 4 times. We drove off, got clear of the hive, and when we stopped, one of our guides burst into tears because 2 weeks earlier, a couple who'd been camping in the area were killed, probably by the same hive. So Malcolm saved me because he cut through that buzzing with his voice and got me into his car.
Would it not have been prudent advice for the guide who knew about the death of the other tourists to maybe advise you to take a different road, being that they were your
nobody
guide?
knew that the hive, I mean, there's bees everywhere, but nobody knew that the hive was actually in the road. That's
Right.
the thing.
Okay. Yeah. Well, yeah, I've been into Africa many times, and I saw a lot of black hornets making a nest in what was a crudely men's public toilet in a picnic area. And these hornets, one hornet was like this big.
Yeah.
I mean, so they're not messing around. And I told the park warden, and he just came in with a broom, just started whacking them. And I was like, I'm not hanging around here. Damn.
Yeah.
Well, okay. Moving on. What was what would you say one TV drama series that you watched in your lifetime? It can be anything from any country. Would you say is a TV show that you absolutely had to see all the episodes? You binged it. It might be something you might even go back to.
There's a few. There's a few.
Yeah, well, throw me out a couple.
True Blood is one.
Excellent.
I'm a serious vampophile. I know a lot about vampires and vampire lore, so that was one of my favorites.
I'm liking that. I didn't know that about you.
Oh yeah. Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
And the other spin-offs I've been watching, but the original one, I've seen every episode of that.
Are you watching House of the Dragon?
Of course.
If you check out my channel, there's an interview with Wil Johnson, the black actor who had his head lopped off in season 1.
Oh, really?
And he's a really good friend of mine. He was at my wedding actually, and I was calling him as that speech was being played, saying, "My God, they're setting you up for such a big role in season 2." And I was literally leaving that message on his answer phone when, and I was like, "Oh,
yeah,
never mind, I'll call you back."
Just not.
Yeah,
I would love to be on one of those.
They just finished the 3rd season. Well, you never know. There'll be more spin-offs, and stuff
Yeah.
of that nature. I'm
Uh,
sure.
and along the vein of True Blood, I've seen every episode of Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Okay. Were you disappointed that they weren't reviving it after all? Because it was on the
I'm
cards.
furious. I'm furious because it came down to one jerk executive who was never a fan of the show.
Right. I can tell you've already put a hit out on him, so maybe it will still happen. Who knows? We'll see. Let me go back to the beginning. You started off as an actress, and before you even got any parts, let's talk about how that happened and where you grew up. Now, most people will have had a great teacher, maybe somebody at high school or something like that. Or parents? Who was it for you that supported you wanting to do something in the creative arts, and who inspired you, and who were your mentors?
Well, the first ones were my oldest sisters, really. My two oldest sisters, Marcia and Dana McBroom. Dana McBroom Mano, Marcia McBroom Small, were both actors and dancers professionally. My sister Marcia was one of the first big black supermodels of the 1970s. And in fact, she used to model with Grace Jones, and she's Grace's son's godmother. And then my
Wow.
sister Dana is a professor of dance who's worked with the Dance Theater of Harlem. She's choreographed films like Lead Belly. And she co-wrote Pull Up to the Bumper for Grace Jones. And so, of course, and I first went on my first movie set when I was about 6 or 7 years old. And oddly enough, it was the Russ Meyer's cult classic Beyond the Valley of the Dolls.
Is this
Because
your sister?
that's right. That's my sister Marcia.
God damn! I didn't
And
know that. And
yeah,
I
and
know who this is as well, and I didn't put that together.
yeah, she's in that movie. She's the drummer in the Carrie Nations.
Yeah.
So she brought me to the set the day when they were filming the wild psychedelic party scene. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
See, that's her in the middle. Oh no, that's her on the right.
Damn, I had a crush on her when I had a crush on her when I was younger. That's so embarrassing.
Yeah. So can you imagine the impact it had on an impressionable 6-year-old?
I can.
See, there she is. Yeah, that's her too. Seeing my first movie set then. And, I was born in Hollywood. I was literally born in Hollywood, and I grew up in Hollywood.
Right.
Then later, I went to my elementary school was very arts forward. So we were very much supported in the arts there. But my serious training started in high school. I went to Santa Monica High School, and I had an acting teacher called Eugene Jellison, who taught several very famous people.
I'm sure that name's been mentioned on this podcast before.
I don't know, but Robert Downey Jr. mentioned him on a talk show.
But I have had several quite high level Americans, so not impossible. I've heard the name anyway. Definitely heard the name.
Well, he mentioned him on a talk show, and
that might be it.
The Estevez brothers, Emilio Estevez and Charlie Sheen, the Lowe brothers, Rob and Chad Lowe, they all went to my high school, and we all had theater arts with this teacher.
Bonkers! Wow,
yeah.
What a class!
LA, it's not that. And that was the high school that kids who lived in Malibu went to.
Right. Okay.
So that's why.
Right. Yeah. So you were really in it in that environment from the get-go.
Yeah. Before that, I also went to a school called Oakwood, where a lot of the kids were the kids of actors. Like, I was really good friends with Preston and, now she's Christina Hagman, who are
Larry
Hagman's kids. Yeah.
Larry Hagman's kids. Yeah. Big Larry Hagman fan, actually. So.
Yeah. Well, I loved him. I used to hang out at their house all the time.
Was he a really nice guy?
He was magical.
I heard that.
And in fact, he didn't speak on Sundays because that was his contribution to reducing noise pollution. He walked around with a little chalkboard, And so a normal, like I'd go to their house for the weekend and spend the night, Saturday night, and I'd wake up on a Sunday and Larry'd be out on the roof flying his big flags overlooking the beach in like the top half of a karate gi and his rose-colored John Lennon glasses and a bamboo bush hat,
Mm.
blowing bubbles out to the ocean because they had a house right on the beach. And I'd wave and he'd wave. I loved that man. He made me feel very loved during that awkward 12 years old period where I was, just hitting puberty and everything was weird and awkward. And he
Yeah.
made me feel very, very comfortable.
Okay.
He was
Yeah,
a great guy.
I've never heard a bad story about him, and it's such a shame that he didn't do more movie roles outside of
Yeah.
Dallas, because he was so good in The Eagle Has Landed,
Yeah.
the World War II thing that they shot in the UK, and he was so great in that movie. So you grew up around it. You grew up effectively in Hollywood or close to it.
Mhm.
So it was a natural progression to go into the acting, start going up for jobs, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And this is in the time when, you go to a cattle call casting auditions, there's 30 of you in the corridor, that kind of deal.
I did a lot of those, yes.
Yeah. And
In fact, I know where you're going with this.
well, no, I'm not going to talk about self-tapes because, this is all before that.
Yeah.
But I mean, you got a voiceover role, I think, for an animation, wasn't it a Smurfs?
Yes,
thing?
it was the Smurfs and the Magic Flute.
How did that come about? Because was that your
God.
first professional gig?
No, it wasn't.
Okay.
My first, semi-professional gig. My mother used to be a seminar leader for what was called EST, Earhart Seminars Training, which was the
Right.
big self-help thing of the 70s. And so I would go with her often when she was leading these courses. And there was some young art students in one of her classes that went to CalArts, which was a very famous art school, is in California, just outside of Los Angeles. In fact, Pee Wee Herman, Paul Rubens went there. A lot of people you would know went there.
Sure.
And they were doing a production of Alice in Wonderland on videotape, which is when video was brand new. The tapes were like that big.
Yeah, I remember that.
And they asked me to play Alice. I was 9 years old. So
Nice.
that was my first film experience.
That was that's quite brave to cast a black actress in that part at that time. I
Well,
would say in that era.
I guess you could say that.
Yeah, I mean, neither here nor there now, but
They just wanted a little girl, and I was very outgoing.
right. So you were quite confident, would you
Yes.
say, from an early age, which I think is everything if you're
Yes.
going into that business. What would you say if you had to throw out a couple of really valuable lessons that you learnt quite quickly at a young age in the revolving door of Hollywood back then? And I guess we're talking early 70s, we would have been talking, right, when you were a child actress, effectively.
Yeah. Well,
What would be two of the valuable lessons that you learned quickly, being in the thick of it and in growing up in it?
I realized very early on that I had a very solid work ethic, because when I was, I think, 8 years old, yeah, I had to have been 8. At my school, I mentioned my elementary school, that was very arts forward. Every Friday, we would have what's called a sing, where we would learn songs and we would perform every Friday at school. And, parents would come and, things like that. And one Friday, we had a special Spanish song, and I was actually going to play guitar for the first time,
Oh,
which was a big deal because my sister Lorelai trained in flamenco guitar, so I borrowed
right.
her classical guitar. Unfortunately, I contracted the stomach flu,
Oh
so
dear.
every 30 minutes, like I would lay in bed and then would watch cartoons, and when commercials would come on, I'd go and throw up. But I was determined not to miss this performance. So I told my mom, take me to school, let me do my song, and then I'll come back home and go to bed. So she took me to school. While I was waiting to go on, I threw up in a trash can and went on, nailed my part, went home and went to bed. And I realized years later that a lot of people wouldn't do that. But
No.
it was really important to me at 8
Yeah,
not to
yeah,
miss
yeah.
my gig.
Yeah. Good.
I can
Good.
count on one hand, I think, the gigs that I've missed from being sick. And I'm
Okay.
63 years old. Okay, the next thing, when I really knew, because I originally wanted to go into medicine, like both my parents. Both my parents were physicians.
Mm-hmm.
My mother, in fact, was the first Black woman with a private cardiology practice in the United States. Um, but I was watching some talk show one day, and Jane Fonda was on. And they asked her that question, if you have any advice for the young people today, what would you tell them?
I'm glad my
And
voice
she's,
didn't sound like that, but yeah, carry
no,
on.
no, no, I wasn't trying to sound like you. Sorry. No, no.
That's all right.
No, I was actually thinking of the Four Yorkshiremen sketch.
Oh,
Monty
I
Python.
know where you were going. That's all
Who'd have
good.
thought we'd have been sitting here drinking Chateau de Chasselet wine? Anyway, so they asked her, what would you tell the young people today who want to go into acting? And
Right.
she said, don't do it because you want to. Do it because you need to.
That's
Do
good.
it because you can't get through your life without performing.
Right. Yeah.
Do it because
Good.
it's something that lives in your gut, in your heart, in your soul. And that's when I knew I can't go to medical school. I need to be an actor.
Wow. So you did the Alice in Wonderland.
Hmm.
Was the Smurfs thing pretty soon after that? Because
I
getting a
think.
voiceover gig at quite a young age that's quite unique back in that time. There weren't many children doing the voices.
Well, I wasn't a child when I did it. It was probably, I think I got that through my boyfriend, Grant,
Right.
who I was with between the ages of uh, 17, 18,
Okay.
and like 22.
Yeah.
So, and it was probably around the time that I did Flashdance, which is, you were mentioning cattle calls.
Yeah.
And the first audition I went to for that film was a big cattle call dance audition for the lead, which I knew I wasn't going to get, but I went anyway. Yeah.
There's a
And
picture of you taken a couple of weeks ago that we've just pulled up.
yeah. And so I went on that. And then again, my boyfriend, Grant, who was also an actor, had an audition on the Paramount lot. And I drove him to the audition. And while I was waiting for him, I saw this little bungalow off to the side. And the sign over the door said Flashdance production. And I thought, I've just auditioned for that. What the hell? I'm here. So I walked in and I saw the assistant casting director. Um, and I said, hi, I should be in your movie. And she thought, Julie Seltzer was her name. She looked at me and she said, you know what? There is a part you'd be really good for. I'm going to have you come back in a couple of days and I want you to read for the main casting director. And when I came back, I was sitting there and this funny little Englishman walked over to me and he said, hello, who are you? And I said, I'm Durga McBroom. And we had a nice little chat. And then he went off and that was Adrian Lyne, the director. And he really liked me.
Yeah,
So,
Adrian.
yeah.
Yeah.
So he fought for me to get that part.
Oh, that's nice to hear.
Yeah.
Because I've heard a lot of nice things about Adrian over the years.
He's wonderful. He's wonderful and extremely underrated director. I mean, people don't realize the impact that Fatal Attraction had on people when it
I
came out.
do, because I was working as a cinema usher when that
Ah,
was on, and I got to see the impact it had on people every single night.
yeah.
The two different jump scares. We all used to, all the ushers in the cinema all used to come in for the last 10 minutes. We'd all stand at the back just to watch the two bits where the audience got the shit scared out of them,
Right.
you know, in quick succession. They all relaxed, and then they thought it was all over, and then she comes back again, and they reshot that. They reshot that ending. Of course, the original ending was for the movie was nothing like that. So yeah, it was very downbeat and ended with Michael Douglas, you know, almost going to prison, and yeah, it was a it was a much darker ending, and it was so unpopular with test audiences they reshot it. So that's a story for down the pub. Let's refocus on you. I can't touch upon Flashdance without asking you if you came within the tornado sphere of Don Simpson. Huge draw of breath. Okay, let me get my popcorn. I'll get comfortable.
Yes, I did.
Okay.
Not my favorite person. As a matter of fact.
He's not with us anymore.
No, so I can say whatever the fuck I want about him. Excuse me. I don't know if I can curse on your show, but I just...
No, you can curse. You can curse all you want, because that book came out, I think it was called In Excess of Excess or something like that. That was a tell-all that came out not long after he died. And this is when I was really grafting to become a director. And I remember reading it and going, my God, is this the world I'm going into? You know, and yeah. I mean, tell me about your experience there.
Well, I'm going to tell you about someone else that worked on the film.
Go for it.
Sonny Johnson, who's also no longer with us. Sonny, you know, played Jennifer's best friend, the blonde girl, the skater. Yeah. Who sadly died shortly after we filmed Flashdance. She had a brain aneurysm and passed away very young.
God, that's the same thing that killed my friend Angela. Same thing.
I'm sorry.
Has to go.
But Dawn knew that. Well, first, no, I'll tell my story first. So I auditioned for Adrian, and he had me read with him, and he handed me a hairbrush, and he said, "Just brush your hair, just be yourself, read these lines." And so I did. When Don Simpson and Jerry Bruckheimer called me into their office, they said, just like the film Hollywood Shuffle, they literally said to me, "Can you be more street?"
Yeah, you know, I know that.
I grew up in Bel Air and Malibu, so I was not some, you know, ghetto ratchet hoochie, but they wanted me to act like one. And they actually also made me dance for them in a leotard in their office.
Right.
I'm very fortunate. That's all they made me do. But back to Sonny. So Dawn, who was, I mean, this was the 80s. So Dawn was like insane on cocaine.
Yeah, and it was proper cocaine back then.
Yeah, it was the real, you know, Peruvian flake or whatever.
Yeah.
So he found out that Sonny was terrified of guns. Right. Yeah, there's Sonny, my love. She was such a sweetheart.
Yeah.
He found out she was terrified of guns. So one day he shows up on set and he walks over to her and he goes, "Hey, Sonny." And he reaches in his jacket, he pulls out a .357 Magnum, points it at her vagina, and pulled the trigger.
Fuck.
And of course it wasn't loaded. And
no, then that's not even the point. And anyway, you never point a gun, loaded or otherwise, at an individual.
No. And then he laughed hysterically. He thought it was the funniest thing he'd ever seen. She was traumatized for weeks.
God damn.
So that's where I get my opinion of Don Simpson.
I mean, him and Jerry Bruckheimer were this sort of fire and ice team.
Yeah.
And I remember, you know, when I saw both of their names on a show, I'd be like, "Oh, I know what I'm getting." And they did produce some of the best movies of cinema history, especially of the 80s era, Top Gun and Crimson Tide, The Rock.
Yeah, they did.
But
and I'm grateful that I was in their film, but he was a scumbag. Sorry.
No, I'm listen, I've heard it from dozens of people, dozens. not one or two. So, and what the story is way worse than that, way worse.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
Again, we'll save those for down the pub. So Flashdance, though, in terms of an experience, the shoot and all the rest of it, did you have rehearsals? Was there a choreographer?
Yeah, Jeffrey Hornaday was the choreographer. He was a fabulous choreographer. And the funny thing is, I was supposed to have a dance scene, and they called me in one day with Cynthia Rhodes, who is a phenomenal dancer.
Yeah, from Dirty Dancing, and she was in Runaway as well with Tom Selleck.
Yeah. She was in a lot of things. She was in Dirty Dancing. She was in Staying Alive with John Travolta. Anyway, they called me in, and I was not really very well trained at all back then. I could like club dance, but I was not a dancer. And Jeffrey recognized it right away.
Right.
But they did still throw me up in there in the party scene, dancing on stage with Ron Karabatsos, who played Jake Mobby, the owner of the bar. But as a matter of fact, I realized after that, boy, I need to study a bit more, because I got hired to do a convention for like this trade show for this t-shirt company, because the fashions, with the ripped t-shirts and all that was such a big thing. And they flew me to the Cayman Islands, and they wanted me to dance. So I had to start learning really. And I started studying after that, after I was in Flashdance.
Right.
And that's how I wound up being one of the lead choreographers for the Pink Floyd tours that I did.
Right. Wow, that's quite an arc with your dancing career. Have you got a memorable Flashdance story moment, perhaps one a bit more pleasant than the one we've just discussed?
Yeah. There's a scene, and I'm sure you could probably find the photo of us in the dressing room.
I'll see if I can.
And I'm eating a banana. So
I think I know the scene in question. But...
Yeah. So the thing was, Adrian was a very, very impulsive director. And one day at lunch, I was with the girls, and we were goofing around, and I was showing them how to deep throat a banana. And I took it, and I just disappeared it. And Adrian was walking by, and he's like, "Oh, we've got to use that." So they changed the whole setup that day and brought in a couple of cases of bananas. And Adrian kept going, "Bigger ones, I want bigger ones." And originally in that scene, I deep throat that banana. And it was hilarious because every time I do it, you could hear like this grip in the back. Some guy in the crew would go, "Oh." And he had me for a couple of hours deep throating bananas. I didn't look at a banana for at least 6 months after that day.
I imagine
I was so disgusted with him.
Adrian's face would be not dissimilar to you in this still when all this was going on.
Yeah. But when they got to editing, he said, well, there was the scene, with her eating the lobster. And he also realized, I don't want to saddle you with being the girl who deep throated a banana for eternity. So he cut that bit out, and you can just see me eating it.
Yeah, maybe we could speak to him about a director's cut at some point. I don't know.
If that footage still exists.
Well, indeed. Who knows? That grip's probably got a special reel of it somewhere. If we can
probably
track them down.
Even better than that story is many of us are still friends. Like Michael Nouri is one of my best friends.
Oh, that's so nice to hear, because he's another one I've heard so many nice things about him.
He's a lovely person.
Yeah,
and
I hear
if
that.
you wanted me to introduce you so you could have him on the show, I'm sure he'd probably do it.
That'd be amazing. God, please do. I mean, I'm a big I've followed his work. If he's in a movie, I'll watch it, just to see what he does.
He actually had an acting class for a while, and he had me in as a guest teacher, a guest instructor a couple of times.
He
He
didn't
is
like
so good.
unveil a box of bananas when you turned up for that.
No,
No.
no, he did not. But Michael and I are really close. In fact, he was just here in Rome a couple of months ago.
Right.
I still speak to Stacy Pickren, who was the older dancer, has a great monologue.
Yeah.
And Kyle, who played Richie the cook, we still speak. And also Malcolm Denar, who was his the big burly guy that hardly didn't really talk, that
Another one you
punched
mean.
Richie in the nose.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're all good friends. See, that's Kyle Hefner.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's a sweetheart.
I mean, that's really lovely because, you know, often in our business, you're a really tight family for a while, and then everybody goes their separate way. And I just caught a podcast with actor Michael Biehn and Michael Biehn and Ed Harris were both on it, and it was the movie The Abyss, and it was the first time really that they talked since they'd done The Abyss.
Huh.
You know, these two guys, and it was quite a tearful moment where Michael recalled a compliment that Ed Harris had given him, and he wanted to thank him for the first time, and he was almost crying when he was saying it because he'd been wanting to tell him it all this time. And I'm like, man, why didn't you just pick up the phone and give him a call? You know?
Yeah.
You know,
I've seen Jennifer. I saw her at the 30th anniversary. We had a screening at a theater. Oh,
right.
That was a great scene. And Jenny was such a sweetie. You know, she's really, I really respect the choices she made as an artist after this film because, you know, it propelled her into superstardom. She had her 18th birthday on that set. So she was a baby. I had my 19th birthday. I'm a year older than she is. And she could have done a lot of different films, but she went back to school, got her degree, went to Yale. I believe she graduated with honors. And then she chose a lot of independent film roles and substantive roles as opposed to these like mindless blockbusters she could have done. And I've always really respected her for that because
she did a great role on the L Word as well.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah, which was first 2 seasons of that show. I really liked it.
Yeah, me too.
Then it kind of went off the rails a bit into fantasy land with some of the characters. But well, wow. I mean, we're already 40 minutes in and we only got up to Flashdance, so I'm going to move on. Okay. I mean, there's, you know, so much to cover. So the first time you would have come on my radar would have been, now I can't remember if this was at Bagley's, but I mean, one of the things you don't know about me is I had a bump on the head in the early 2000s, so I've got a massive bit of my memory missing, right?
Oh,
but it's fine. But so everything sort of between 2004 and the early 90s is like a broken mirror. I can see bits of it, but sometimes I can't work out where things fit. But I know that I danced to this track. Now, whether it was on the podium at Bagley's or not, or whether I was just at a mate's birthday, I can't remember. But let's just have a quick look at you acting as one of the most beautiful women in the world in this.
Oh.
So one of the places I can tell you that I danced to this twice. Once was at a club called Age Against the Machine, which is a 1980s club that's was my first place coming back to dancing 3 years ago. And the second place was at a big day rave event. Now, I can't remember. I went to 50 events last year and 37 in 2024. So I can't remember which one it was, but it was played twice at 2 different events, and it was this version.
Nice.
It was the 1998 remix version.
Yeah, because that's the US video. The EU video or the UK video I much prefer.
You mean the incredibly racy one involving the blue paint?
Well, it's not paint. It's not blue. It's actually mud.
Oh, okay.
Yes, that one.
Yeah, that one. But that is that's a different mix of the song.
That's the original mix.
Yeah, the original mix. That's right. But it was the version that was played on the day rays was this version.
Okay. Because that video also, we did a video for that. This video that you're showing was for the original. Right. The 98 video, that's really racy because I'm completely naked and I'm going through all the water and all that. Yeah. And that's probably where you got the blue from, because I got like blue makeup on and stuff.
Yeah, and it's kind of lit that way. A little bit, and also blue is your color, so it seems to turn up a lot. But yeah, I mean, so this is Blue Pearl.
Yes.
Which is a band that you formed with Martin Glover.
Yes.
AKA Youth, musician from the UK. I mean, he's another person I could talk about his career for half an hour, because very, very interesting musician. So how did you guys, and just for the benefit of people who don't know who I'm talking about, we'll just pop this picture up real quick. How did you guys meet? How did the idea for the band come about? Because this was at that crucial time where house music was coming in, EDM was coming in. You know, the club scene in the UK was changing. You had the first massive illegal raves like Sunrise and Biology and all of those. And,
well, the Summer of Love also.
Summer of Love, yeah. Kirk Field's recent autobiography covers a lot of that. I've also got the big 1988 Summer of Love book, actually, which I'll grab it in a second. It's right on my feet somewhere.
Well, it was 89, really, because that's when Blue Pearl broke. Was 1989.
Okay.
Well, Youth and I met. Speaking of which, that photo is because he's the bassist for Killing Joke.
Okay.
But we met because Youth went to school with Guy Pratt, and Guy Pratt is the bassist for Pink Floyd, or was when I was touring with them. And so when Pink Floyd did the huge, iconic show live in Venice, Youth came to the show. And he came up to me after the show and literally, I mean, this doesn't get more Hollywood than this. He said, "Doug, I really like your voice. I'd like to make you a star." And so I went and met with him in London subsequently, because I moved to London. And the first song we wrote together was Naked in the Rain.
Right. Interesting. The Venice concert that you're talking about, which is very famous with Pink Floyd, and we kind of jumped the Pink Floyd thing there, which we need to go back and talk about, because I mean that, you know, Pink Floyd, I mean, you know, it doesn't come any more famous than that. But I did want to focus on your crowning achievements as well. That concert, which I remember well, people talking about it. A couple of friends of mine even blagged going to that. And there was quite an escapade in them getting there. The whole thing's on YouTube.
Yes.
And I'm keeping the sound muted because I don't want to get copyright flagged for it. But I think are you on the left here? Oh, there you are. In fact,
I'm in the middle.
That's I'm sorry. I meant
the three of us. Yes, are on the left.
Yeah, the singer's on the left. Yeah.
And that's my sister.
Wow, fantastic.
That's Lorelei, my sister.
Yeah. So, well, let's go back a bit. So that's how Blue Pearl formed. How did you first get involved with Pink Floyd? I mean, I know you were a bit fed up with your acting because you felt you'd cornered the market in LA with hookers and strippers and gangsters and all of that. And that was the time when, let's not put it politely, that LA was quite racist in terms of its casting and how it approached actors of a
not just LA.
Yeah, well, the business in general. Let's be blunt.
Yeah.
So perhaps you felt you weren't getting the breaks that you deserved, and very few black actresses were really carving out proper careers back
Hmm.
then. You know, the CCH Pounders were still fighting to get heard. You know,
Yeah.
not like now. So at
No,
some
it's
point,
still, I mean, it's better, but it's still,
yeah,
we still have a ways to go. So basically, my sister Lorelai was signed to Capitol Records. And again, I mentioned, my two oldest sisters, they grew up
mm,
down the hall from Nile Rodgers. And Nile agreed to produce my sister's album. So I flew to New York and I was doing backing vocals for her. And this is when the Momentary Lapse of Reason tour came out. And this is the first tour and album after they split with Roger Waters. So they wanted to do some live concert videos. And as David Gilmour put it, he wanted to add some color. And so he wanted to add 3 Black singers. And so he asked the man who ran the production company doing the videos, Michael Pilo, if he knew any Black singers. And he knew my sister Lorelai. So he recommended her, and she recommended me. And then another friend, Roberta Freeman, who went on later to tour with Guns N' Roses.
yeah.
And
I know who Roberta Freeman is for sure.
yeah. And we sent in, because I'd just done all these great songs with singing with my sister. We sent that in, and Roberta sent some stuff in, and they said okay. And they flew us to Atlanta. We did those shows, because there are some videos you can find where there's 5 singers. And then subsequently, they wanted to add a third person to sing the bottom parts, and I wound up joining the tour.
And I mean, were you already a reasonably accomplished singer in your own by your own margins at that point? Because you've been
Not
focusing.
really.
That's what.
No. I
Yeah.
mean, I had sung at clubs in LA where the capacity was maybe 400 or 500 people. And then suddenly I'm walking out in front of 15,000 people, and then 60 and 70,000 people.
Yeah.
But it just felt right.
Yeah. Because there would have been a bit of blagging involved, I would have thought initially, just to get you up to speed.
Well,
And
not really. I mean, we sent them the recordings and they were really good. So
right. Okay.
the thing was, Rachel Fury and Machan Taylor, who were the 2 that were already on the tour, they didn't really get along very well, and there was a lot of competition going on.
Oh,
And
that's a shame.
Steve O'Rourke, the band manager, came to me and he said, "Look, I need you to sort out this section, or else you're all fired." And I was like, "What, me, the new girl? All right." And I would grab them and I'm like, "Look, you bitches, we need to blend it. I'm not going to take this shit." Anyway, I had to learn how to sing really loud, really fast, because they used to try to outsing each other a lot.
Right.
And
Not very
I did.
helpful. Not very
What, sorry?
helpful. Not very helpful if you're doing a trio. And
No,
you
well,
know,
that's the thing. They did not mesh well, but with me in the middle,
yeah.
it sorted it all out, and it worked very well.
So did it improve, or were you
Immensely, yes.
okay? Good. Right. Did you ever cross paths with Amy Keys?
Don't think so. Doesn't sound familiar.
She's the black backing singer to Phil Collins live tours.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Sang with Phil once though at a wedding reception.
You're going to have to tell us about that now you've mentioned it. What happened there?
Well, this was the 80s, as you can
Yeah.
remember. So
Yeah.
we
I
had a
do remember.
guy touring with us whose unofficial title was ambiance coordinator. So basically, his motto was 24/7, you ring, we bring. So any city, anywhere in the world, he could find whatever we wanted. And he also
Oh, I see.
lived,
He was
yeah,
that sort of coordinator. Okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
And he lived out on the farm, Phil Collins's farm, for many years, and toured with Phil as well. And when he got married, they had the wedding reception, and of course Phil came, and we were singing old Motown songs.
Oh.
So that was fun.
I mean, like just for fun at the wedding,
Yeah.
just singing them for fun. Oh, that must
It was a wedding reception. So
Oh.
yeah, everybody, there's all these famous musicians there. And so we
That
all got
must
up
have
and
been
had a go, and I found myself singing to Motown with Phil Collins.
what a blast. Yeah, what a blast. That's so when you did the tour with Pink Floyd, for the layman who's not gone through that baptism of fire before, what's it like being pulled into a machine like that? Do they allocate you actual rehearsal time, or have you
Oh
literally
yes.
got to jump on a moving truck and you've got to catch up?
No, I got. Well, I mean, the first tour, I kind of had to jump on because it was already going. They'd already gone through their rehearsals. I mean,
Right.
I sure I must have done some vocal rehearsals with the girls separately. But yeah, that was pretty. Well, I mean, I had a 2-week probation period where they wanted to make sure that I could handle the gig, and also that I wasn't a complete nutter, because they'd had
Yeah.
the years ago. I mean, in the 70s, they had this backing section called the Blackberries. These 3 black ladies,
Mm-hmm.
and they used to do some shows, and they'd take a break, and then they'd come back and do some shows, and they'd take a break, and then one time they came back, and one of them was missing. And as it turns out, when they were on a break, she was out with her boyfriend knocking over convenience stores and gas stations at gunpoint. So she wound up in jail. So they just wanted to make sure I could handle it. And
You weren't
we
you
did.
weren't doing convenience robberies on the side.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I did Oakland and Seattle, and then we had to go to Vancouver. And Seattle to Vancouver was quite interesting because we were going on a bus as opposed to flying, which
Mm-hmm.
was normal. Uh, and so we get on the bus, and Steve, again, the band manager, stands up and goes, "Right, international border, 2.5 hours. Anybody holding, get it out, get it done." So everybody's just, except for me, I'm on probation, so I had to not
Indulge.
indulge.
Mm-hmm.
And the kids today call it candy flipping. So most of them were tripping on acid and rolling on ecstasy.
Right.
So a couple of hours standing in the aisle of the bus. The road manager is like, the Beatles come on. He's like, he was a Scouser, so he's like, "Ooh, I fucking love this song. I love this," and I Love Her by the Beatles. We sang that song 14 times in a row. And then, of course, we get to the border, and they made us come off the bus and show our passports. Everybody's completely twatted, and except me. And again, the road manager. There's this truck driver that's about 6'5", who's looks like he's been up on speed for 3 days. In the line behind us, he's kind of like looking crazy. And Alan, the road manager, he starts going, "He's looking at me. He's fucking looking at me. I'll fucking have him." Alan's all of like 5'5", so this guy was a good foot taller than him. So we had to
Yeah.
hold him back. Rachel was so adamant. Once she showed her passport, we're all laughing hysterically, showing them our passports. She couldn't find the door to leave the room. She saw the bus out the window, so she tried to climb out the window, and we had to stop her. This is the 80s, man. This was like prime time for touring, and
Yeah.
I passed
And
with flying
everything that went
colors.
with it.
Yeah. And at the end of that 2-week period, Steve came to me and said, "Durga, we've got all the money in the world. We can hire whomever we like. And we
Yeah.
chose you." And that changed my life.
That's pretty amazing. Diverging for a second, I saw on Instagram you've been battling an ailment that I had last year. You've got a lingering cough that's gone on for about 5 months. Is that right?
Not 5 months.
Well, a while.
It's been about a month and a half.
I'm only mentioning it because you did a very public post about it on your Instagram when
Yeah.
you sat in a room full of salt. So
Yeah.
I had the same issue because I've got a really vulnerable chest, and I found if you get the really tiny ginger roots, the small ones, and you crush them up, boil them, get 2 lemons, squeeze all the juice out, put them in the water, drop the lemons actually in the water with the roots, boil it all up, and then have 3 cups of that a day with honey in. Within 2 days, trust me, your chest is going to feel better.
Oh, okay. I'll try that. I mean, I do have a tea that I need to make. I've just been lazy and I haven't done it.
Yeah, don't
But
tell
I'll
anyone.
try that.
It's a
Thank
secret
you.
recipe. So no, it's good. Honestly, I just thought to mention it because I remembered seeing that post and I was thinking, oh, I must tell Durga about.
Yeah.
That's how I got rid of COVID. When I got COVID, somebody told me to do that to get rid of COVID, and it worked. So when you did Blue Pearl, I mean, all the with Floyd and everything else, that is kind of life on the road, isn't it? It's not quite this is Spinal Tap, but it's not far off.
Oh yeah. We had our tap moments.
Yeah, and in that dynamic, in the creative industries, particularly film and music, it's the graveyard of relationships. I'm divorced. Most of my friends are. In fact, there were 11 of us that got married between 2011 and 2015, and only one of those 11 couples are still together now. Not all of them are in the film industry, but quite a big number of them. So it's not a industry that's kind to longevity. You got quite lucky in that regard. Maybe that was a bit later in life, but how did you navigate relationships and that in that world? It's quite tricky, isn't it?
Yes, it is. I mean, I did Flashdance when I was with my boyfriend Grant.
See, I remember his name already.
Yeah.
Grant.
And then after Grant was Keith. And Keith, the way I could navigate that is because I did something I wasn't supposed to do. He was in the backline crew on the first Pink Floyd tour.
Okay.
And he was also married, which was not very good. But,
okay.
I was young and stupid and thought, oh, I can handle this. And then the next thing you know, we were like really very much involved with each other. And but when the tour ended, he went back to his wife.
Right.
After that, I met a guy called Alex Jason who went to school with Gala and Jamie Wright, Richard Wright's kids. And so I met him on the next leg of the Pink Floyd. Oh, how did that work out? Yeah, I guess. And we were together for a few years during my real major Blue Pearl period.
Yeah.
When I lived in the UK. And then
where did you live in the UK when you were here?
In London.
Which part of London?
Well, first I lived with him, with his family in Camden Town, and then we lived for a short period of time just off the Portobello Road. Then lived in Ladbroke Grove. And that was a cool house.
I used to work in Ladbroke Grove, and I live 20 minutes from Camden Town now.
And then South Ken.
Right. Okay. So yeah, I mean, this would have all been in the late 80s, early 90s.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then he and I split up right around the beginning of the Pulse tour. And then again, I did something.
Oh, we've lost connection. What's happened? I wonder if Durga's phone ran out of battery. Hello? Just when it was getting good. Yeah, I know. Sorry, Wormy. We've lost Durga for the moment. I'm hoping we'll get her back. I'll tell you what. So I'm going to show a clip of. I bet her battery's gone. Of another one of her music hits. So let's have a quick look at this while we're.
Dance along the ledge, forbidden touch, kiss the razor's edge.
I'm here.
And you're back. Yeah,
Yeah.
we just cut to commercial. Commercial being one of your music videos.
Sorry about that. Yeah,
That's all right.
my aunt was trying to call me.
Oh, okay.
So my aunt tried to call me and it cut the feed. So
Okay.
sorry.
No problem. That's fine.
So we split up at the beginning of the Pulse tour, and then I wound up dating one of the guys on one of the steel crews that would build the stage, and we were together for that whole tour. Then after that, I was with Angelo Moore, the lead singer of Fishbone, and we've been
Yep.
friends since 1985,
Fishbone, yeah.
and that was rather tumultuous. And then I met my husband, and we were together until he passed away in 2015.
Yeah, I was, when I was researching for this interview, I was so heartbroken to read
I can't
that.
hear you again.
Oh, let me log you in.
Do I need to go out?
Yeah. Do the same thing. Okay. Hopefully this will work. We'll get Durga back in just a second. I was not expecting her to regurgitate all of that. That's quite. Hello.
Yeah. Okay. There you are.
Good. We're all good. What I was saying was when I was researching for this interview, I knew a fair bit about you already, but one thing that's never interested me when I've been growing up in culture was gossip, relationships, who's dating who, all that kind of stuff. Like my favorite actor was Gene Hackman, and I wanted to see every Gene Hackman movie there ever was, and I'm writing a biography about Gene Hackman. But I haven't got a clue at any time when I was a fan of his who he was dating at what time, how many times he'd been married or anything like that. I was just interested in his work. In fact, the book I'm writing about him is called Gene Hackman, all about the work. So, when you kind of hear people's songs, I've always known who sung them, but I've never really dug into their personal life. So when I was researching this and I read about your partner passing away in 2015, and I've lost quite a few people, and I've even done a whole film that was about dealing about that. That really, I really felt for you.
Thank you.
It was almost like wanting to just kind of, where are you? I want to give you a big hug right now. It's one of those moments. I don't know what degree you feel comfortable talking about it, but it is a very complex, personal, and unique time, grief and loss, and we all deal with it differently. I wondered if you felt comfortable talking about how you worked through that, what your battle, how did you?
Yeah. Well, I mentioned, my mother did those seminars. So from a very young age, I've done a lot of introspective work,
Right,
and a lot of transformational work. And
you didn't join the Church of Scientology at any point?
no.
Good.
No.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, Scientology are the ones who basically torpedoed the creator of Est because he was taking people away from them.
Right.
Right. Yeah. So yeah. Anyway, so I learned from a very early age to just feel my feelings, and suppressing them or hiding from them, that doesn't work. So in all of this, I've just allowed myself to just feel what I feel, let it come up, let it do what it does. And then in some senses, sometimes I just observe. Sometimes I get in it and then let it wash over me, and then it passes. I just be where I'm at. And that's really the only way to get through losing someone.
Do you ever get signs, little things that make you feel like they're around, looking out for you? Because I get stuff like that all the time. I just
absolutely, definitely, yeah, I do.
Could you talk about one of those, maybe?
Well, sadly, 3 days after he died, I had to fly out to work to do a show, and in Genoa in Italy. It was a charity show, a big charity show. We were raising money for a children's cancer charity to
Right.
raise enough to buy a new ambulance
And
for the squad.
he wouldn't have wanted you to cancel that kind of thing.
No, and I wouldn't have anyway. So the first song was "Shine On, You Crazy Diamond," and I remember standing up there and starting to feel like I was going to get choked up on the first line.
Mm.
And then I felt this breeze, and I knew it was him
Oh, I love that.
saying, you know, just go ahead. And in fact, a couple of years after that, I was in Miami, and what happened? I'm trying to remember. I was parking my car. I was going in to see this art show with a friend of mine, and there was a guy that was going to be performing, playing music. And I'm trying to remember the sequence of events, but I was thinking about him, and I felt this breeze again because he used to come to me in the wind. And do you remember the whistle from Kill Bill, the theme?
Yeah.
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 So
Yeah.
when my husband and I were in a crowd or somewhere and he was trying to find me, he would whistle that.
That's kind of cute.
And so I felt that breeze and I was like, baby, is that you? And a car drove by and that music was coming out of the window.
Oh my God. That's
Yeah.
yeah, I'll share one with you real quick. When I came back to the day rave scene in London, and it exploded in early 2024, around sort of Easter time was when it started exploding in London. And this was right at the beginning. And there's these two brothers who put on these events called Day Raves. Houses of Feeling is their brand. And I was at a club called XOYO, and in their main room there are two podiums. So of course my instinct was to go straight up on the podium and dance because that's what I always used to do. And I hadn't been clubbing in ages, so of course I forgot to wear trainers. I had these really like heavy posh boots on, so my shoes were like, my feet were like lead. And I was dancing on one side, and I was thinking, what am I doing here? I'm in my 50s. This is bonkers. I should go home. And right as I thought that, the light flashed, and it picked up this girl who was dancing on the podium opposite me, and she was the dead spitting image of my friend who passed away in 2009, Angela. And she just smiled at me, this girl. I don't know if she was smiling at me or not, but it looked like she was smiling at me. And for a second, it looked like my friend. You know, when I saw her again later, I just realized they looked really similar. But in that moment, I swear it was her. And she was like, no, you're exactly where you're supposed to be. And then another time I felt my mum behind me because she was a dancer. So being like, I never thought I'd see you dancing at your age. So, you know, do you know what I mean? So I was like, okay, I think I'm supposed to do this day raving thing and get up on stage again. So, and besides, everybody here's my age or older, so it's fine. So, yeah, it's how many years were you guys together?
Almost 10.
I mean, while that seems dreadfully cruel that was cut so short.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm guessing you guys were a great fit, and that was 10 really lovely years. So many people, maybe, well, I don't know, but I'm just guessing. So many people in life don't get those 10 years.
I know.
You know, they're lucky if they maybe get 2 or 3 with someone. Some people don't ever find that. Some people don't ever find that at all.
I know. It was extremely tumultuous. Let's put it that way.
Right.
Because we were both larger than life people, and he had a lot of issues. That's putting it mildly.
Oh, did I oversell it? Sorry.
No, but I will say that I have experienced love like most people never will.
Right. Which is, yeah, I mean, that's great, because you're right. A lot of people don't ever get to experience love.
Yeah.
Do you think you've still got some great songs in you? Because I think you might have.
There's a whole new Blue Pearl album that we're trying to get out that we've been working on for the last 10 years.
Right,
That's the best Blue Pearl to date.
right.
So yeah, I write all the time. In fact, I'm supposed to be writing right now.
Okay, well, we'll wrap up shortly. And you're based in Italy now, is that right? Or
Yes.
fantastic.
Yeah, I bugged out of the US in 2017.
Yeah, I can understand that. We don't need to go into why, but I can relate.
Why
to
not?
All right, let's get into it. Why did you leave the US?
Because of that cunt. Why do you think?
Oh,
He's an international embarrassment. It's horrible, and I'm furious that the world is having to deal with all of this mess, especially because some of us warned everybody.
yeah.
I'm one of those people that said if he wins, I'm leaving the country, and I actually did it.
Well, I mean, listen, America's loss is Italy's gain. So, well, Durga, I know you talked to me off camera about you're writing a book.
Yes.
Durga's Excellent Adventure. It's not called that, but and that's an area that I work in. So now that you've come on my channel, you're considered to be an obligatory member of the Outcast Creative. So if you ever need any assistance with that book, formatting, whatever it might be, you just have a technical question, call me and I will be there to help you. Also, when the book comes up for publication, you must come back and we'll do a special show about your book. Because we jumped around a bit. We could easily go for another hour, but I don't want to take advantage of your generosity. It's been absolutely fantastic having you on. I've got one last topic that I want to ask you about before we wrap up, which is AI, which is a big thing now, of course.
Yeah.
And one of the things, I'll tell you this briefly, one of the things that I always wanted to do was because I write lyrics all the time. So, because I'm a writer, I always wanted to produce music. But I could never get a studio, and I always wanted every song I did to be a journey. So I needed to book a singer, and the singer was never free at the same time as the studio. Yada, all of that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then, gradually as the software got more sophisticated, as soon as I learned one piece of software, that piece of software was out of date, and then another thing would come out, and so on. And I've been working with Logic predominantly on the Mac, and then putting that into DaVinci, which is editing software. But now I can use one of 3 programs. Here are my lyrics, put them into this program. Oh my God, I can hear what my song sounds like when someone sings it, in 5 minutes flat, which for me is amazing.
Yeah.
And I wrote a song for my brother, which said everything in that song that I wanted to say, thanking him, which just as a personal thing. Couldn't have done that without AI.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, it's been very useful, and I'm now producing a trance music album, which we're taking with us to Ibiza, and we're doing a podcast about Ibiza every Monday. If you ever want to come on there and talk about Ibiza, please come on as a guest.
I want to go there.
Come in September. I'll send you. We'll talk about that. Come, because I've never been. Have you ever been? You never been? Oh my God! I would have thought you would have been already.
I know.
Oh, good news! You're going in September. Fantastic! It's sorted. Excellent. I'll put you on to Terry, because I think we've even got room at the villa we're staying at. So
really?
I think so. Yeah.
That would be awesome. Depending on when is it? When are you going?
We're going from the 21st to the 29th.
Oh, perfect! Because I'll be back from Guatemala.
Yeah, and I know for a fact that we've got a room free from the 25th to the 29th for the second half of that week. So we'll talk. But we're doing a podcast every Monday called The Track to Ibiza, and the idea is me and Terry are working on a track for Ibiza. Funny, I knew an amazing vocalist that could go on that track.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm going to be in London the 7th to the 11th. I'm going in the studio with youth because I wanted to do a cover of Broken English because
Wow.
since Marianne
Okay.
Faithful passed away, and hopefully he agreed to it a while ago, but it's hopefully going to be duet with Boy George. So keep your fingers crossed for that one.
Oh, I've seen the picture of you with Boy George. Yeah. Well, listen. Listen. When you come to London, is that this month or next month?
August.
August. When you come in August, we'll touch base and
Okay.
talk about all of these things. But what's your thoughts on AI? Where are you at with it?
Well, I did an AI vocal plugin because I'd rather be ahead of the game than
Yeah.
finding somebody, because I did catch somebody that was trying to use my voice and I made them shut it down. But it's not selling as well as I would have liked, but it's fine because I'd rather sing live anyway. I think for what you're describing, it's a really good tool for that. Replacing, though, like what I do, it can't.
No, I mean, I would listen. I would always rather work with a singer and get in the studio, but you know.
No, I know. It's a great tool.
Yeah, I think.
And as long as it's used as a tool and not a replacement,
Yeah.
then it's very useful.
All right, fantastic. Well, Durga, is there anything you'd like to plug or mention before we wrap up?
What am I doing? Where are we? July. I have a show coming up in Calabria with PFT, Pink Floyd tribute, on July 25th. Then I have a show in Sardinia on the 31st. Then
And have you got a main
about it.
website where people can see all that stuff? Is there a
Let's
main?
just look on my Facebook page. I have two. I have my personal page, which is extremely political. So if you don't like that, then avoid it. And then I have a professional page, which is just my gigs and stuff like that. And then my Instagram is a combination of the two.
Yeah, I've got you on Insta. I don't have you on Facebook, but I'll add you after this.
Yeah.
So there's a few comments in the chat of people thanking you for coming on and saying how interesting this has been. One of my regulars has just said, you need to show Durga you dancing with your light whips. Yeah, okay, all right, sure.
That sounds awesome.
This is what I do on stage, but this is actually, hang on, I've got a better video of me doing it on stage. I'm sure I do. Yeah, no, I do. I just downloaded it because I was on stage last Saturday in do you know Brixton at all?
A bit.
Do you know a club called the Brixton Jam?
No.
So
it sounds vaguely familiar.
It's an indoor and outdoor venue. You kind of come out the tube station, you turn right, you walk way past the palace and all that, and it's down that way. But when
I think of Brixton, I think of the fridge.
Yeah, the fridge is gone now.
I'm sure.
Yeah, sadly, that's unfortunately not there anymore. I mean, you've got other you've got other clubs, but not as good as what the fridge was.
Yeah, that was one of the best ones.
Yeah, I mean, are you not going to do a live performance in the UK?
I might do. I'm waiting to find out. That would be in Folkestone on like August 22nd. But I'm
God,
I nearly
forgot. So,
what?
Do you remember the house music jungle music brand that was at the SE1 Club, which was known as the Drone, in the early 90s in London, which it would have been when you were here? It was called Rain Dance. Do you remember Rain Dance?
No.
Okay, the founder of Rain Dance, who's a guy called Richard, I spoke to him today. They've got their massive event in London in November. It's their reunion event. He's interested in you coming down and singing your tracks there.
Great.
Yeah,
I have a great, really good, like 28-minute set.
I think that would be perfect. I'll put you in touch with him.
Awesome.
He definitely wants to talk to you about it. Okay, so this is me dancing on stage. Here you go. I lost
Nice.
I lost a lot of weight in a very short period of time dancing with those.
I bet.
And that was taken 2 weeks ago. And man, it was so hot. I was doing 10 minutes on, 10 minutes off, and I did that 10 times. And I was just dripping. But it's a really good way of losing weight. So
Cool.
and I like dancing with something in my hands when I'm on the stage. So there you go. So I got to dance with Durga McBroom, technically. This has been amazing. Thank you so much for coming on. And I really also appreciate your candidness in saying to me off camera at the beginning, no topics were off the table.
Nah, I'm an open book.
Yeah, well, and also I think you've got a really, just from the brief snapshot of stuff we've talked about, I think your biography is going to be really, really interesting.
Baby, you have no idea. Sex and drugs and rock and roll. I mean, there's some proper erotica in my book. In fact, I'm thinking about approaching erotica publishers just because there's so much filthy stuff in it. It's really good.
Put me down for a signed copy. I'm there. Like I said, if you need help down the road with editing it, any of that part of the process,
Thank you.
I'd be very happy to step in and help you. Well, going to wrap it up there. Thanks so much for my guest, Durga McBroom, for coming on. I know we only had a few people in the chat, and I know that's because France are playing Morocco, and they're probably just about to wrap up that game. But there were a few people in. So those of you that did pop in and out, thanks very much for doing that. I appreciate it.
Seen in the chat. I didn't see.
Yeah, there are a few people. They were mostly talking with each other, but and taking the piss out of me as usual. But like so dancing around the living room with your laser whip and so on. Because everybody knows me on the day race scene as Light Whip Lance, because that's what I'm always dancing with my light whips everywhere I go. So, but look, it's been great. You've had a phenomenal journey, and one of the things I wanted to say to you is I don't think you're going to be a person that's going to look back at your life with many regrets. You are definitely a person who's got a life well lived. Absolutely 100%. And and even though there's been hard times and stuff, I'm also very glad to hear that you're a person who's definitely been loved. So, because that's a rare thing. On that bombshell, we're going to wrap it up there. I'm going to be back on Monday for the Ibiza podcast. I'll play the intro for that in just a second. So if you haven't seen it, do come on Monday. We've got guests coming on, people who work at Ibiza. We've got people who've been there for many, many years. We've got some of the promoters coming on. We've got guest dancers, singers, all kinds of people coming on. So that's Monday night at 8:00. Then, of course, I'll be back with my regular movie review show. That's every Tuesday at 9 p.m. And we've also got, on average, there's 2 industry interviews every week now, because I'm trying to hit 200 before the end of the year. And you did hear it earlier. Durga's going to try and get Michael Nouri to come on for me. So that would be amazing. You'll be my absolute bestie for life. So if you make that happen, I'll be so grateful. You've no idea, because I'm such a big fan. I'll totally geek out. All right. That's it from us. Don't forget to check out this every Monday at 8:00.
Welcome to the Track to Ibiza podcast with Back to Raving at 50, DJ Wizkid, and the Batgirl of the UK rave scene, Kelly 4 Beats Wallace.
Talking all things on the legendary island that you want to remember before we all land there in September.
Talking favorite clubs, from Amnesia to Space. Shame the latter's closed now, because it was really ace. Covering everything from beaches to food, helping you to get the best out of the island, the way we all should.
With special
but don't worry.
Kelly says it will be just fine.
Back to Raving at 50 is coming to Ibiza for the very first time.
Lying here awake, thinking that I must not make the same mistakes. To get that break, then I saw you, and maybe it felt like fate. Maybe fate. I know it could be so approaching
legend, Galen Hurd.